Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you do not know me, my name is Paula. I am a certified Christian life coach, speaker, author, and founder of Beautifully Made, and welcome back. So I want to talk really quickly on the topic of perfect peace. I recently uploaded a vlog where I talked a little bit about perfect peace, and I was talking about how, I was reading about perfect peace in my devotional, and it just really struck me because right now there is so much going on in the world, right? There's so much happening, and there's so much, that happens in our personal lives as well, from day to day, from month to month, from year to year. There's a lot of things that come up. And sometimes, if we're honest, we struggle with walking in the peace of God. We struggle with how to grab hold of the peace of God. And so I was reading the devotional, and it took me to Philippians chapter 4, verses 4 through 8. And from this passage of scripture, I read it, and I think I read it twice, and I realized, wait a minute, this is actually a formula, if you will, for obtaining the peace of God. Like, if I find myself in a place where I feel overwhelmed, if I'm dealing with fear, if I'm dealing with anxiety, whatever it is, and I need the peace of God, this gives me exactly how to get it. And I wanted to share that with you right now. And so I want to start with rejoicing. Rejoicing. It is the trick of the enemy to get us into a place where we think that God has forgotten about us. The enemy wants us to think that God is not concerned about what we're going through, that God is not concerned about how we feel. But we have to know that that is a lie. Okay, it is a lie. All right, God does care how we feel. Scripture tells us to bring our cares to him because he cares for us. God cares about what we go through. God cares about how we feel. And he wants us to have his peace. And the way to get it, one of the ways to get it, is to rejoice, is to thank God in the middle of what you're going through. Listen, I know that can be a hard thing to do, because when you're facing financial hardship, when you're facing an eviction, when you're facing grief, God, when you're facing divorce, when you're facing any type of situation, sometimes it can be really hard to not give in to the emotions, right? To not give in to the natural part of how we feel. But I want you to understand that while you are going through, you have to make a decision to do something different. You have to make a decision that instead of being frustrated and angry and sitting in the corner crying, we are going to thank God because he is in the midst of the situation. I may not see it with my natural eyes just yet, but soon and very soon, God is going to show me what he's been doing behind the scenes. God is getting ready to bless me. God is getting ready to open up a door. I'm getting ready to see breakthrough. So God, I thank you. We have to learn how to rejoice. And the next thing is we have to pray and surrender. We have to pray and surrender. We have to give ourselves over to the Lord. Some of us, like myself, right? We're analytical. We like the details. We like the control. But when we give our lives to God, we give up that control. We give up that part of us that has to know it all, that has to see it all, that has to have all of the I's dotted and the T's crossed before we can make a move. Right? We have to understand that God is in control, that God knows our beginning from our end. There's nothing that God does not know. As a matter of fact, scripture tells us that he laid out our lives before there was even one day. God already had everything laid out. So he knows what's coming up. He knows what's next. He knows what is ahead. And so we have to make the decision that we're going to relinquish the control. We're going to stop holding on to how we feel. We're going to stop holding on to what we think is right. and we're going to pray, give it to the Lord in prayer. And that particular passage of scripture in Philippians 4 says, pray, bring your requests to God with thanksgiving. So we've already started with rejoicing, right? We already started with thanking God, which shifts us, which begins to shift our mind. It begins to shift our atmosphere. It begins to shift how we feel. And so we can go into prayer, and it makes it easier to lay down that need for control. It makes it easier to lay down that frustration that we feel because of what we're going through, right? And so after we've prayed about the situation and we've given it to God, we have to continue to thank him. I'm telling you, when you get into a space where you just begin to thank God and you open up your mouth and you're thanking him, it shifts you. It changes your perspective. It shifts your atmosphere. Because no longer are you giving room for frustration or anger or fear or anxiety or disappointment. You're not giving room for the enemy to try to creep in. You're thanking God. You're shifting your perspective. And then the last thing is worship. After we've begun to rejoice and thank God, we've gone to him in prayer and surrender. We've laid ourselves at his feet. We've given our requests to him, already thanking him for what he's done. And now this leads us into a place of worship. This scripture in Philippians 4:4-8 talks about meditating on the things that are pure, the things that are noble, the things that are praiseworthy. That word meditate simply means to just focus on. That's all it means, to just focus on. So you have to ask yourself, what are you focusing on? What is the focus? If the focus is the situation, then that is naturally going to lead you in the wrong direction. But when you focus on who God is, when you focus on the fact that his word says that he does not fail, when you focus on the fact that you serve a God who is all powerful, who is all knowing, when you focus on who God is, what his word says, and what he says about you in his word, my God, that is a perfect setup to get the peace of God in your life. I'm telling you, that is the perfect setup to walk in the perfect peace of God. If you want the peace of God, I challenge you to rejoice. I challenge you to pray and surrender. I challenge you to worship and watch you change as God works to change the situation, as God works to open a door, as God works on your behalf. All right. I hope that this was a blessing to you, an encouragement to you. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribed to my podcast, the Overcomer Podcast. And again, if you have not gotten your copy of my free devotional, make sure you look in the description, look in the notes, get the link, get your copy. I promise you, it will be a wonderful 7 days. All right, that you will spend going through this devotional and just really connecting with God in a deeper way. All right, I will see you all and talk to you all in the next one. Bye.